I was a very little boy at the time. I was growing up in Jos, my senior brother's house. His name Agaba Ikwue, and I was at the barracks in Jos there. And then we stayed in one room. He would sleep on the bed, and I would sleep on a mattress down. But I think his work required waking up early and getting ready, prepare to go to work. But very early in the morning, between 5 and 6 o'clock, he'll be up and he'll start playing songs like a song from the Congo, the Ngoma records. The other ones are called GV records. I think they are from Portugal. GV records, and some song from South Africa, and some Highlife music from Ghana. The Issue Brothers. I could go on and on. So he wake up in the morning, had a gramophone, put the vinyl record on. There were no CDs or anything at that time, and he play. And as he played, I lay down there and listened to them, and he kept doing it every day, every other day, every week, And there were songs like from Skeeter Davis, Galeton Records also. I don't know where those are from. I remember the title, the label on the record. It was kind of fascinating. Yeah. I particularly like the songs from Ngoma record. Those are songs from the Congo.
Yeah. What genre of music would you say it was, or was it genreless?
I don't know. They had a lot of melody, and harmony in most of the songs. Like Seke seke kwanja kiaone umbaraga. Umbaraga sikwambaya kiabone. I didn't know what they were saying, but very harmonious songs like that, And I listened to them.
That's very nice. And would you say this is the foundation of music for you, or there was music even before that?
I really don't know a lot about myself. If I go into myself, I probably get you and myself confused. I think there's so much we don't know about so many things. I always get scared to try to act as if I know.
Right.
Because what I know about myself, about anything, is like very, very infinitesimal. If you did mathematics, you understand. I know so little about anything. Let me give you a classic example here why I'm scared to answer a question I don't think I have authority. You've heard about 1 minute, 1 hour, now, and 1 second. Now, there exists a time called 1/10 of 1 second, and a time called 1,000th of 1 second, and 1 trillionth of 1 second. 1 trillion, trillionth of 1 second. If I take you to that realm, can you begin to understand how much we don't really know? There's so much we don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
I will try to answer, but you can discern and take whatever you want to take out of my answer for yourself.
Of course.
Thank you.
In an interview as well, you mentioned about how this concept of time, interestingly, you mentioned that you feel at 76 the same way you feel at 16 inside. Can you tell us a bit more about that and the idea of staying young inside, keeping the child alive?
The idea of aging, I think I think the Almighty God Himself is a mystery.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how suddenly I'm now approaching 83, and I still remember when I was a little boy running around stark naked.
Yeah.
I think time flies away so quickly. We all need to take advantage of what is called time, and time itself is a mystery, and not waste our time too much, because we don't have much time.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I'm 83 now. I can't believe that.
That's.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think yes. Actually.
Thank you.
And so moving on from the early inspiration, the Congo records, and all the records you were listening to, you then go on to to ABU. I'd like to find out more about your first forays into music.
My what?
Your first band in music, and your entry into songwriting.
Well, first of all, I was a chronic stammerer, and I attended primary school in Jos, called St. Luke's Primary School, along Church Street in Jos. I believe the school is still there.
Yeah.
And I was a stutterer, a stammerer.
Wow.
And a lot of my classmates made a lot of fun about me. I got into so many fights. I think I lost 9 out of every 10 fights I got into, and decided that this is not about fighting anymore. It's about doing something about it. And I tried, but if you're a stammerer, you can always sing freely. So I got a lot of fun, pleasure singing to myself on the way to school, on the way back from school, and a lot of times where there were little parties, like schoolhouse parties here and there, the people took notice and they asked me to come out and sing. At that time, I would write something for myself. And in those days, there were record songbooks. People bought these record songbooks and sang already recorded songs with the help of the songbook. But I didn't do that. Instead, I tried to write my own songs. You know?
Yeah,
I can tell you about this much later. I did a Pidgin English Highlife for my friend musician. I think his name was Willie. Forgotten his name. Highlife, Willie Moore.
Willie Moore.
Willie Moore.
Okay.
In Kaduna.
Okay.
Let me sing the song for you.
Okay.
Mikonda no good oh, ay ay ay. Mikonda no good oh, ay ay ay. I go corner no good oh, ay ay ay. Mikondo mama, Mikondo papa, Mikonda no good oh, ay ay ay. But he never. Willie Moore never recorded the song.
Oh wow! Would you say that's one of your first songs?
Sorry?
Is that one of your first songs?
I don't remember. My first song goes back to so many times that probably wake up from sleep when I was singing as a little boy. I don't remember.
Yeah. So from that time, you start the Groovies. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
The Groovy starts in 1967.
I don't even remember the year, but I know it started in Kaduna.
Okay.
Groovies.
Okay. And so what was the process of getting to the point of recording your first album?
I had to. My first album was recorded in Lagos, not in Kaduna.
Yes.
But I did a lot of my groundwork in Kaduna.
Yeah.
But, you know how it. Do you know how that started? I started featuring on RKTV.
RKTV.
Yeah, Kaduna.
Okay.
TV. Then I had my guitar and I played songs that I written.
Okay.
And there were other people doing other things on the program, which was set up by Patrick Ichiohe, blah blah blah.
Okay.
And I remember Sonny Okogu. He was always trying to emulate Elvis Presley. He was miming to Elvis Presley's song. Okay. And he got a lot of rating because at that time television was black and white and it was just coming in.
Yes.
And they thought he was singing the songs. But so he got a lot of rating because those songs were properly produced and recorded. Okay. And he acted so well. But I wasn't fooled by that. I kept writing my own songs and singing them. There were other people like Dangerous Ismaila too.
Dangerous Ismaila. Wow.
He later went to the US and I think he's passed on now.
Okay.
But while I was doing my programs on RKTV, some British man, an engineer with Hamdallah Hotels, at that time I think they just built the Hamdallah Hotels, Peter Stratton, noticed what was happening on television. They called the TV station and later I met with him. Here's what he said. He said, Bongos, I like your voice. I think you have a good voice. I'd like to be a manager, but I don't think I have the resources. But here's what I'll do. I'll call my friends to my house every Saturday. I'd like you to come, see if you can sing for them.
Wow.
And I'll cook for them, which is what he did. The interesting thing about this man, he smoked cigarette and he had a wife, I think called Liz Stratton. You bring out 2 cigarettes, light them up as one, and give one to his wife. He did it in such an admirable way. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It made me almost fall in love with smoking. It was so romantic the way he did it.
Yeah.
And he never lit 1 cigarette. He always did light 2 cigarettes. And he said, if you are going to be singing for my friends, you know you can't come and keep repeating the songs. You have to find a way to write, keep writing new songs. And I did just that, and it went very well. And his favorite song was Mariama.
Wow.
Because he liked Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
Remember Harry Belafonte?
Yeah,
Down the way where the nights are gay?
Yeah.
And I tried to write a song like that. Oh, Mariama, you know.
Wow.
And I dedicated that song to him in the recording.
So at that time in Nigeria, would you say music like Harry Belafonte's was reigning? Was it very big?
Well, at that time in Nigeria, the only recording that came out of the recording houses were analog recordings.
Yes.
Everybody had to play what you record. It wasn't the AI age. There was nothing to help you other than yourself.
Yeah.
So, and I was particularly impressed by the quality of music that came from the West, particularly country music.
Yes.
And Harry Belafonte sang, it wasn't singing country, it was singing
Calypso-ish, yes.
Calypso type thing.
Yeah.
And there were other Calypso singers too, like, I don't remember the name.
I have one of your records here, Songs I Like to Sing.
Songs I Like to Sing.
Songs I Like to Sing.
Exactly. You can see, I was like waving bye-bye here. This is the last recording I did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I sang other people's songs, like Kenny Rogers, Sam Cooke.
Yes. And so are those inspirations at that time, Sam Cooke? And
definitely, Sam Cooke did inspire me a lot.
Yes.
I had a lot of inspiration from Sam Cooke.
Yeah, because there's a track here, Tribute to Sam Cooke, an instrumental track. Yeah. And you also mentioned...
is it instrumental?
Yeah, it says here instrumental. Is it the Tribute to Sam Cooke track? It says instrumental.
I thought I sang one of the songs.
No, you
Sugar
did.
Dumpling, you're my baby. Okay.
You sang Banini Banini.
No, yes.
Yes. I think it's an Idoma song.
Yeah, exactly.
And you sang Sugar Dumplings, it's Sam Cooke's song.
Yeah, that was Sam Cooke's song.
Yes, that was Sam Cooke's song. On the back of the album, you also dedicate it to Rex Lawson.
Sorry?
At the back of the album, you dedicate this album to Rex Lawson, Celestine Uku, and Jonez. What do these men
Jonez was I like Jonez's voice in particular.
Yeah.
He was a solo singer. He sang Okwere Kedikara and all of that. Fat as a cow. My landlady, remember?
Yes.
I don't know if you do, but
I'm aware of him, but not all his music.
Okay, I think he had a great voice.
Yes.
I'd have liked to have recorded with him.
Wow.
And produced him. He had a great voice.
Yes. And he was one of the stars of the 60s.
Yes.
Okay. And what do you have to say about Rex Lawson and Celestine?
It was very, very popular.
Okay.
He was a trumpeter and a singer.
Yes, yes.
And at that time, Highlife was really raining.
Yes.
I liked his songs too, very much indeed.
Yeah, and he has a lot of songs that have lived on up until now. I want to talk about your first album, You Can't Carry the Sun.
I Can't Carry the Sun, right, yes.
From our research, it was released in 1973.
It was what?
It was released in 1973 from our research.
I don't even remember, but you do.
Yeah, we've researched it, you completely. On Arc Records.
The studio was built by Ginger Baker, who was a drummer.
Yes.
And he came with the Neve
board.
The Neve
recording board.
Recording board, yes.
Yes. So what was that experience? Because this is your first album,
yes,
I think.
My first album.
Yeah.
Ever.
So what was the experience?
I was very excited.
Yeah.
And I heard the guy drove through the desert with all the equipment.
Yeah.
And came all the way to Lagos and built a studio in Ikeja.
Yes.
And they had a Jewish engineer. I've forgotten his name now. I think his name may still be there.
Yeah, I'll find it.
It was very, very skilled to me.
Yes.
Because those days there were slicing tapes.
Yes.
There was no digital editing. You had to slice a tape and quickly join it together, cut off what you don't want. It was as manual as that,
Mm.
as what was the word now? As analog as that.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you had to have very good ears and very sharp hands.
Yes. And how quickly was this album recorded? Was it? Did it?
No, it didn't take too much time.
Okay.
I think at that time, in my opinion, I think he had a very skilled engineer.
Mm.
Very skilled engineer.
Great. And do you have anything to say about?
That was one of the songs in I think in that album, was it All Night Long, where
Yes.
the engineer
Yes.
liked the song so much he had to come into the recording studio to put his voice on all
wow.
night long.
Oh yes, he did a harmony.
Yeah, yes,
Oh, yes.
With the chorus.
Yeah.
That's how much he liked the song.
That's amazing. So this is your first record now. Is this the album that put you on the radar for EMI to sign you, or
No,
what happened?
I think it was Still Searching.
Okay.
Put me on
Yeah.
on the radar.
Okay.
But before Still Searching,
Yes.
there was Lagos, which I did at a nightclub. You know the song?
Yeah.
Tonight I think of my home,
Yes.
the home where I was born, blah, 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 and all of that.
Yes.
I did that at a nightclub in Lagos, at Federal Palace Hotel. And in those days, they were bringing bands from Spain. I remember the name of the agent. His name, Stefano Stavru, a Spanish man.
Okay.
He brought bands from Spain, and they performed at the nightclub. And after failing my audition because to perform at the Federal Palace, I went back to the manager of the Federal Palace playing the guitar all by myself. And if I had won the audition with the band, they'd have paid me £400 a month.
Wow.
But I did win because the musicians I had disappointed me. They never showed up at the time. So I employed 2 other musicians to replace them, and they didn't perform well. Of course, I failed woefully. I didn't need any telling by anybody to know how woefully I had failed. So I went back to the manager of Federal Palace and said, look, I can sing all by myself. I don't need band. Can you give me a chance? And he said yes. And I said, I don't want any audition. I would like to go to the nightclub and perform all by myself. There were magicians there. There were dancers. There were mind readers in the nightclub. They had a very thrilling and fascinating nightclub activities going on at the Federal Palace.
Wow.
So I got on my seat and I sang Lagos. Everybody liked it. So the hotel awarded me a contract, and they began paying me £500 a week
Wow.
instead of £400 a month with the band. And that was how my practical music group took off in Lagos, because the musician from Spain came with their equipment, complete equipment,
Yes.
microphones, amplifier, blah, 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 drums and things, properly set up.
Yeah.
So from that little money, I was able to buy off the equipment of the band that were playing at the time before they went back.
Wow.
And Federal Palace Hotel helped me from my earning
Yes.
to pay off the balance of what I didn't pay.
Wow.
So that was a major, every disappointment is a blessing quote.
Yes. Yes. That's an amazing story. Yeah. I don't think we knew that actually. So was this before the Bongos Ikwue album? You mentioned just now the album was self-titled because they wanted it out very quickly.
Of course. I started playing the song on TV programs in Lagos. It went very well. There was a program called Legoscope, became the signature tune of Legoscope.
Wow.
I think at the time, anchored by Julie Coker and Nahoro.
You've produced most of your albums, right?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I didn't. But now I write most of my songs.
Okay.
Now I produce most of my albums.
Okay.
And I have so much work now that even you haven't heard.
Yeah.
There's so many people haven't heard.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but
Yes.
then EMI had their own producer. I think it was Iroji.
Yes.
Iroji.
Odeon
Odeon
Iroji.
Iroji.
Yeah. What was it like working with him?
Well, it was a little stressful
Okay.
in the sense that, you know, if you didn't quite rehearse your song, you only had 8 hours per session.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll be recording and Sonny Okosu's team are waiting. So you had to finish quickly. Once your time was up, you were checked out.
Wow.
They were doing business, we too were doing business.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
and it depends on how much rehearsal you've done before going into the studio. If you want to put the time into proper use of this.
Yes. Was it easy to get rehearsal space at the time before you?
Well, musicians can attest to what I'm saying. They are the problems. All musicians are problems. They never want to rehearse.
Yeah.
They think that they want to do show, but for me, rehearsal is the show.
Yeah.
The show is the play.
Yes. 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 Amazing. You just mentioned Sonny Okosun, who was also signed to EMI.
Who?
Sonny Okosun.
No, it wasn't in my group. That's
Yes.
his own group.
Yeah, he had his own. Yes.
It's just a contemporary of mine. We're
Yes.
very good friends.
Yes.
I just mentioned him because I think
Yes.
I can mention him. We're such good friends. I believe I can mention his name anytime.
Yeah.
There was no rivalry. It was nice.
He was signed to EMI as well.
He was signed to EMI.
So EMI was the top label at the time.
Well, there was also Phonodisc. There were other.
Okay.
I don't remember all of them now, but EMI was very top.
Okay. Okay. From our research, you released all your albums on EMI except for the last one, right? Was it a really? What was our working relationship now? And I think younger musicians.
Sorry, what? I didn't hear the question.
I said, so you released all your albums on EMI except for the last one, from what we saw. Yes.
I think that was from what studio now?
Tabansi is the last one. Yeah.
In Onitsha.
In Onitsha, yes. So
I remember one very good guitar player. What's his name? Died there in an accident.
Jake Solo.
Jake Solo.
Yeah.
He died in there.
Yeah. I think he played with the Funkies.
He also did some guitar playing in some of my recordings.
Yeah, yeah. And talking about that, your collaborators in the band, in the Groovies, there are a couple of names that we found as people you played with a lot across time. Your drummer Mike Umo.
Mike Umo had passed on now too.
Yes. What are your favorite moments?
Mike Umo was drumming and co-part singing with me.
Okay.
It was like my backup vocal, Mike Umo. And he was the main drummer.
Yes, he drummed for a long time. And other guys like Papa Do was a keyboard player.
Papa Do, he was a keyboard player.
Yeah.
It was from I think his father was from the Cameroons.
Okay.
But Papa Do.
Yeah.
Was keyboard player. He played keyboard and coach did the backup vocal with me also.
Okay. Dele Ajiboye.
Ajiboye was playing the bass.
Yeah.
Bass guitar.
Yeah. So these are musicians that played on multiple albums with you. What?
They were in my Groovies band, the band that I set up.
Yes.
And we played. I think they were in the Rooftopers band.
Okay.
Because I played in Hamdallah Hotel. Also, remember Peter Stratton that I told you worked in the Hamdallah?
Yes, yeah.
They had a rooftop. Hamdallah was the first big hotel ever built in Kaduna. And it had a rooftop garden.
Okay.
So I was the first to start playing at the rooftop garden. And I named my group Bongos and the Rooftopers.
Oh, wow.
That was how the name came about.
Okay. So it was the Rooftopers
It was like on the fourth floor or fifth floor, the last floor of the hotel.
Okay.
A very exciting place to be. At that time,
yeah,
there were very few such high-rise houses.
Yeah. So the Rooftopers became the Groovies?
Yeah, well, they like synthesized into the Groovies.
Okay.
And I tried to find a name that's relevant to whatever
is going on. We've heard about the Groove Train.
The what?
The Groove Train.
Groovy Train.
Yeah, the Groovy
Called the
Train.
Groovy Train.
Yes, which was your bus, your tour bus.
Yes, my tour
Yes.
bus.
What was it like to tour Nigeria at the time? And
Well, let me give you an idea.
yeah,
The Groovy Train, if you heard of the Lichuku buses, there are Mercedes buses that carry over 40 people, that kind of thing, right? At that time, I bought a Groovy Train, the Mercedes luxurious bus, for 27,000 naira. And I remember, that's a whole big bus. I think it'll be over 100 million naira now as I speak.
yeah.
Today, one tire is over 100,000 naira. Not tire and rim, not tire and tube. One tire.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah. It's the value of money is. Yeah. I want to ask about Jimmy Cliff, the reggae musician Jimmy
The what?
Cliff. Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah, Jimmy Cliff.
Yes, he had a Nigerian tour.
Yeah, I played with him in Jos.
Okay.
We had a concert together. And in that concert, I remember I played also with the Sahara All Stars.
Mm.
And Ayo, Sachmo, they call him Sachmo, he played trumpet.
Mm.
Ayo slumped and passed on.
Wow.
In that concert in Jos, I remember.
Wow.
But we did a concert together. He played his songs very well. I was very excited playing with him. And so was he. I played my own song. I think it was me and the Groovies that played.
Okay. So was that part of?
It was at the Plateau Hotel.
Okay.
In Jos.
Mm-hmm. And how frequently would you tour at the time? Were you touring constantly across the year, or?
How frequently were we touring?
Yes.
Well, it wasn't easy to organize. We had a road manager.
Mm.
A road manager would go around. I was based in Lagos at that time.
Mm.
Road manager was, if we were to tour Nigeria, we'd probably go and start with a place like Maiduguri. We'll play from there all the way down to wherever.
Mm.
So the road manager will book the hotel and get police permit, authority to perform, print posters. And in those days, most of the shows were outdoors. If it rained, you were in for it. You lose everything. Wow. And if it didn't rain, we were lucky. Yeah. So we always prayed for no rain as much as possible.
Okay.
And if it rained, if any rains will start from between 6:30 and 7, it will rain the whole show.
Mm. Wow. That's so touring wasn't easy, but
sorry?
I said touring was not easy to do, but it was happening frequently.
You see, because none of our shows was guaranteed by anything.
Yeah.
You paid for the venue before, you printed all your posters,
yeah.
A road manager will place them. It's not under any guarantee. If the show is ruined, the booking is gone for nothing. The printing and the advert, radio and television, all gone.
Yeah.
So we actually did. So we didn't do a lot of touring if possible during the rainy season.
Yeah.
It can become very catastrophic.
Yeah.
If you lose all of that.
I find that interesting because now. And this is one of those things that have changed. Now it's almost impossible for Nigerian artists to tour Nigeria. You mentioned starting from Maiduguri. Now Nigerian artists don't even tour. They don't tour.
Why don't they tour?
Well, they mention security issues, but I think there's also a lack of venues and just a lack of want to do it.
I think we give up too quickly as a people.
Yeah.
I think they should have, because in those days there was plenty of outdoor shows. We even had what you call jumps on Saturdays and Sundays. You organized jumps, and people came out with their. In fact, when we were touring in those days, for a young girl like this that I see seated down here, and Bongos or Sonny Okoshu was touring, the girl must make her particular tour dress for that particular show.
Wow,
if your boyfriend didn't buy a new dress, you probably would break up with him. that kind of thing happened, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they came out on Sundays at 2 p.m. for Sunday jumps and things. Pretty exciting to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know why we gave up so quickly.
Yeah, it's
Because by now, outdoor performances could have graduated into something more colorful, maybe flowers and things, or special dances for such occasions and things.
Do you remember when things started to change and there were less of these, outdoor shows and jumps? When did that start changing?
I don't quite remember.
Okay.
No, I don't. But life was not about money then. I didn't know that people could run into problem because they didn't have money to pay their rental. I didn't know that people who have problem with money to buy food. I had my girlfriend then, who became my wife. We lived in Lagos without money. We had such wonderful time. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
We ate very well, paid for expensive dinners, and we just lived well. And there was the movies to go to.
Wow.
We had no money, but we did a lot of window shopping. Just looked at butter shoe, looked at night dresses, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And all that thing has fizzled away into people looking for money that may never have.
Yes.
Instead of doing things to make that money.
Yes. That's amazing. And I think that kind of thinking finds its way into your songs. A lot of the songs you write have this kind of message, like...
remember pickpockets?
Pickpockets.
It actually happened.
Wow.
You know the song, oh, these pickpockets, they don't blow no trumpet. They're around and they're everywhere. They can cut through or even tear.
Yes. I was listening to one of the songs yesterday. Water. No more water in the well. Yes. Yeah, and I think you say something about take what you want and the rest have none.
Well, somebody did ask me that question when I did a little thing in Makodi.
Okay.
He said, "Why did you write that song?" He said he liked the song, but why did you write that song? And I think the song just came by inspiration.
Yeah.
And then I think I answered the question by saying, do you know Dubai just started yesterday?
Yeah.
Under my own eyes, and Dubai has grown to be one of the major cities of the world because they invested properly. Everybody has water in the well. We have to fetch that water first. If you blew that gift of water in the well, you pay for it.
Yeah.
We had oil, we have everything, but I'm not condemning anybody. I don't know what happened, but I think we can do a little bit better. Not by talking, but by doing.
Yes. Yes. And the song still rings true now.
Sorry?
I said the song is still very relevant.
Yes.
Now. It's very relevant. Another line goes, Mother Nature put the water there.
Mother Nature put the water there, but we took it all out and burnt it.
Yeah. It still rings true.
That song came by inspiration and is very much liked by a lot of people.
Yes.
I think I'm going to look into it again and bring it up into something else.
Yeah. So for your songwriting, is it, a lot of it is inspiration. You've talked about getting songs in your dreams.
Getting what?
You've talked about getting songs in your dreams.
Yes.
Right? Dreaming up songs. Do you have a favorite way to receive a song?
I don't know, but I don't know if you ever dreamt and sang in a dream. There's a level of purity for anything in a dream. I think it's the closest to cleansing. If you sang in a dream, it's so clean. And I also discovered that no dream lasts as long as we think. Because if you dreamt, if you went back to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning and you had a dream that lasted too long to you, you looked at the time, maybe it's only 5 minutes. So I don't know much about dream, but I see that there's such purity and quality.
Yes.
Anything that comes through dream, I think is already cleansed and very pure.
Yeah.
If you can reproduce it, it'd be awesome in this world.
Yes, yes.
More than that, I don't know what to say.
No, that's the answer. I mean,
And dreams. When you dream about anything, you're just being used as
yes,
as
as a
what do you-
conduit or like the messages.
as
Yeah. One of my favorite things about your music is how you use the two-part harmony in
How
your
what?
the two-part harmony in
all
your
the two parts
verses.
are always my two voices.
Yeah, your two
And then my
voices.
two voices.
That was very. It's an intentional decision. When did you start doing that?
I think I listened to Miriam Makeba and I discovered that she did it too. And with my children, Jessica here and Omi, there's something genetic about the synthesis of two voices
Yes.
that is difficult to explain. If I did any harmony with Jessica or Omi, it's always different
Yeah.
from with any other person.
Yeah.
And with myself, I think it's the same genetic thing running through.
Yes. Yes. It's a very unique.
I think it's very, very unique.
Yeah, part of your music.
I think
It's very striking. Kokra Dawn,
Yes.
right? Which is I think it's a seminal Nigerian album. Was it the first time a musician was asked to make an album for a TV show?
I think
entire
so.
album.
I
Yeah.
think so. After that, the same person came to me again and asked me to do something at Nigeria 25th anniversary. Nigeria is 25.
Wow.
The odds will they survive. Arise, salute, blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Yes.
Or St. Peter Ego.
Yeah.
He came to me and asked, I think I did other song for him. I think it was Mirror in the Sun.
Okay.
And I did for him too. And all those songs that he took to contest did win him some award. All the three songs.
Contests.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Particularly in Germany.
Okay. The songs were in it.
I think one is Mirror in the Sun, and Kokra Dawn, blah, 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 and all of that. And then Nigeria is 25.
Okay.
Those were academic songs.
Yeah, I was just about to ask. You've spoken about academic songs before.
Yeah.
I know on the second album you have a song. I think it's about Nigeria's independence. I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Those are Nigeria is 25. Kokra Dawn, Nigeria Independent. They were academic songs. I had to sit down and write like a poem.
Yes. One United Nigeria. Is that another one?
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, now listen to this. Oh, I want to tell you about the first day of October. All of these facts I clearly remember. It was in the year 1960. The flag was hoisted as sign of unity. See, there is rhyme.
Rhyme.
You know, and Nigeria is 25. The odds with this survive. Arise, salute the nation. Come join the celebration. Same rhyme. All those are called academic songs.
Okay. Yeah. You call them academic songs because, I mean,
because I had to create the rhyme.
Okay.
And maintain the storyline.
Okay.
Without doing something that's not right about it.
Yes.
I have to maintain the integrity of what I'm saying.
Okay.
I didn't start writing about one person. I wrote about the country.
Yes.
Instead of saying Nigeria is the greatest, as Nigeria has come to stay.
Yes.
There's nothing more to say.
Yes.
Arise, salute the nation. Come join the celebration.
Yeah, I see.
People united will never fall. The sun will shine and the rain will fall. On our land, vast and mighty, deeply blessed by the Almighty. You know, the rhyme. I'm not saying anything that's a lie here. I'm just making statements of facts.
Right.
It's for the rest of us to take this statement that are facts to a logical conclusion by thanking God and working as hard as possible.
Yes. With Still Searching.
Still Searching.
Yeah, the album.
That song came by inspiration.
Yeah.
By the time I was actually searching too for so many things.
Okay. Do you want to speak about what you were searching?
Well, if I wasn't married at the time, then I must have been looking for love.
Yeah.
I'm looking for better songs to make more money.
Yeah.
The search is endless.
The search is endless.
It depends. Even if you are married and probably want to do better in your job, leave what you're doing, go for more training. So I believe that people are always searching for one thing or the other, and the search never ends until you move on, you pass on.
Right. Was the success of the song a surprise to you, or because it's a huge song that still lives on?
It is.
You know, you never know. I guess you never know.
Nobody ever knows. Sometimes you cannot judge you cannot be the judge of your own work. It's very difficult to.
Wow.
One never knows. Sometimes I rehearse a song and sing it so much I'm tired of hearing it myself.
Yeah.
And I go to a performance and they ask, play still searching. It becomes so boring even to me, but that's what happens sometimes. We never know.
Yeah. With Otachi Popo, it was the first album you titled an Idoma name.
Yes,
What's the significance of singing in Idoma for you?
Otachi Popo is actually Woodpecker, the bird that pecks on wood. It is said that it's pecking the wood looking for his lost female, whatever.
Okay.
It's a folk song, folklore. These things from between 7:30 and 8 o'clock in the villages, they don't have light there. Children sit around, and this beautiful storytellers come around to tell folk stories. Otachi Popo is one of those songs that emanated from that kind of route.
Okay. It's an Idoma folk story.
Yes, Otachi Popo.
Are the other songs on the album similar, or those are original?
Bangini Bangini too.
Oh.
It's a folk song.
Wow.
But Shaone is the one I created.
Okay.
And Kankuche is the one I created. Ella is the one I created.
Okay.
It's a mix. It's a mixture of all of that.
I mean, with styles of music, I love Banini Banini. Okay. And for me, it sounds like Idoma Highlife or something. How would you describe the styles of music that you use? There's a lot of soul.
Talking about Highlife, I remember I was being interviewed once by somebody from Voice of America.
Yes.
I think I said it over and over. He said to me, Bongos, I like your music, but you don't do Highlife music. You don't do Nigerian music. And I said to him, can you say it again one more time, please? And he said it. I think it was Igbo, working with Voice of America.
Yeah.
He said it the third time. And I said, listen to yourself. He said, I don't play Nigerian music because I don't play high life music. I said the three words, high, life, and music are English words.
Yes.
And you think, because I don't play high life music, I don't play Nigerian music. So we have been brainwashed badly. We need to get out of this brainwash. It has gone too far. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I do understand what you're saying.
I'll leave it at there.
Yeah.
You can take the rest up by yourself.
Okay. That's fair. Because for me, I hear a lot of Africanness, in the music. So that's very surprising to hear.
Thank you.
The 70s was
the what?
The 70s.
70s, yes.
That was your era. That was.
I think for the entire world, the 70s had a lot of creativity.
Yes, I agree. A lot of amazing music across the world, and you were at the forefront of Nigerian music.
Yes.
But the 70s was also, Fela was around, and King Sunny Ade, Ebenezer Obey. Do you have any? What was the atmosphere like?
I had my own problem with recording company then.
Oh.
They thought my songs were a little too Western.
Okay.
And I didn't, because my first recorded song was Lagos.
Yes.
It had a proper country tone that's clearly Western. And they kept saying, even the Rogers would say, Bongos, we don't think your songs are commercial enough. So I guess every artist went through this type of thing.
Okay.
But you have to have enough courage and nerve to to stick to your own guns and carry on and be yourself.
Yes.
I think that's what I did.
Yes.
But answer your question again. Ask your question again, please.
The question is about the question is about that. How did you remain yourself in the midst of all this music that was happening?
Well, the day you try to change yourself, I think you're gone, because you can only be you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think the greatest sign that the Almighty put on man, there are 4 of us here now. My daughter, they're making 5. If you speak and I have my eyes closed, I'll know who is speaking from your tone of voice.
Right. Yeah.
That's how much you have to be yourself means.
Mm.
Nature has made it so. If you try to disobey nature by not being yourself, you are failing yourself by your own act.
Mm. And that was
you don't have any choice but to be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was something you felt very deeply, I'm sure.
I didn't have any choice. I couldn't sing any other way other than the only way I could.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's not possible.
Did you have any, would you be listening to the other music at the time? What were you listening to at the height of your...
I listened a lot to Brooke Benton, a lot to Sam Cooke, a lot to Jones, a lot to Ishi Brothers. God. And that's because my brother bought a whole lot of those songs, and they did impact me a lot.
Okay. Yeah. What about your contemporaries?
My contemporaries, we're very busy hustling, trying to write new songs, trying to record them, trying to get booking, trying to make little money to survive. Nobody sponsored anybody.
Wow.
It was, and those who got lucky to go to university and came out with degree, got jobs, and they became what they call senior civil servants, But if you opted to fend for yourself, that meant a whole lot. That meant you have to keep working and working and working.
Yeah.
So there was not too much time. Any time you had, you tried to see if you can write a new song.
Yes.
To increase your...
Yeah, to put more work out. What was your relationship with reggae? There's a big reggae influence on your music.
With reggae?
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much? Okay.
No. Jimmy Cliff came, played this song and left the country. We shook hands, we were nice to each other.
Okay.
And things, and I met some other artists.
Okay. But you like the style of music, reggae, is something...
some of my songs, even still searching, I've been searching, it's like reggae, isn't it? So some reggae influence was there.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
In searching, you can see it's a bit of reggae. Even first day of October, when I did Nigeria.
Yeah, yeah. So you had Bongos Ikwue and the Groovies, but then you released some solo albums. Some solo albums.
Yes, I did.
With Lagos Ihotu.
Lagos who?
Lagos, and you released an album, Lagos, called Lagos.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was after you were successful with the Groovies.
The album Lagos, I think, was my first recording in Ginger Baker's studio.
Okay.
Well, are you talking about Bye Bye Lagos, which I have not released yet?
Oh, okay.
I recorded Bye Bye Lagos, but not released.
Oh, okay.
But Lagos album was the first one I did in Ginger Baker's studio.
Okay.
Nikeja.
Okay. We found another album in 1978 called Lagos. The album itself is called Lagos, but I'm not... it might be a later release of that first one.
Maybe another remix of it.
Okay.
I don't quite remember now.
Yeah. Right. So I think we can take it to right now. You
can what?
We can bring the conversation to right now because you're still active in music. There's a video that went viral of you singing recently. A video that was very popular of you singing recently.
Yes.
And there was the song with Twof that you did. What was that? What was the experience working with Twof?
We decided to do a collabo.
Yes.
And we met in my studio in Otupo.
Okay.
And I think already all the recording took place in my studio then in Otupo. He had already done his own part, and I didn't do much there. I think the collabo went well. He sang his own part his own way, and I sang into the collabo the same still searching my own way.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great record. It's very nice.
Thank you.
I don't have many other questions. My last question is a bit more open-ended, just about your life philosophy. You've been called a person, a philosophic type of singer. Is this something you embrace, or what are your thoughts about being called a philosophic?
About what?
What are your thoughts about being called a philosophic singer or person?
I think there's a big difference between religion and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Religion tells you what to do. Philosophy tells you who you are.
Mm.
And I'm a believer in both, but I'm not a very religious person.
Mm.
You see, for example, I can tell you with my own authority that God is not a Christian, and God is not a Muslim. God is not a Buddhist. I can tell you this with my own authority. Why do I say this? Christianity started about 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
God is older than 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Islam started even shorter, less than 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So God is not a Muslim. God is not a Buddhist. I can tell you that because I know the God that I serve and believe in is older than 2,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know God, but I believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that religion is what the human being has created as a way to worship his own God.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Christian, you use Christianity, which was established after the death of Jesus Christ,
Mm-hmm.
as your own way of worshiping God. And therefore you're a Christian. If you want to use Muhammad's way to worship God, you worship Allah through the method that Muhammad has established to worship your own God called Allah. And I can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
All religion was created by man. No religion was created by God.
Mm-hmm.
But coming back to philosophy, philosophy tells you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And my philosophy tells me so many things.
Mm-hmm.
The more I think of philosophy, the more I know that I don't even know who I am. The more I know how inconsequential I am. And the only thing I'm talking to you at all, as if I know, is because I don't know. If I knew anything at all, I'll shut up. You see, I pray to God. I'm not a religious person. I pray out of fear, proper fear, because I know I don't have power, I don't have authority, I don't have anything. But I worship God that I respect and don't know. I call him God. But if my faith is big enough, I think the only prayer should be shut up, say nothing, keep quiet, and see if you can hear what God is telling you. Because the God you are talking to knows already, the one that I believe. He knows your problems already. He knows everything. Why do you keep repeating the same thing to him? But because I'm not developed enough to that level, I still pray out of fear, because I cannot give the help that I need to myself. Mm-hmm. I reverence God too much that if I had grown up to that level, I will only shut up. And God will know what I'm thinking already, because that's the God I believe I worship. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I may be confusing myself or even you. I apologize for that. But remember, you see, God gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth. You must always listen more and talk less, because there's so much we don't know. Mm-hmm. Unless you ask me any questions again, I don't know what to say.
No, that's perfect. That's a perfect way to end this.
Sorry?
I said that's a perfect way to end this.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your time with us, your journey, the lessons, and your philosophy. with us on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.